So Trump stood in front of the world's most powerful people yesterday and couldn't stop confusing Iceland with Greenland. Not once, not twice, at least 4 times during a 90-minute speech where Greenland was supposedly the whole point. Iceland's already cost us a lot of money, he said, except he meant Greenland. They're not here for us on Iceland, he said about NATO, except he meant Greenland. This is a guy threatening to blow up the Western Alliance over a territory he can't even name correctly. And here's the thing that should terrify you. While Trump's up there rambling and threatening our oldest allies with mob boss language, you can say yes and we'll be appreciative, or you can say no and we'll remember. It's kind of like, it's a nice story. So maybe something will happen to it. The rest of the world is watching this train wreck and makes plans without us. Canada's new Prime Minister, Mark Carney, gave the speech a day before Trump showed up. No yelling, no threats, just a clear-eyed assessment of what's actually happening. We are in the midst of a rapture, not a transition, Carney said. Great powers have begun using economic integration as weapons, tariffs as leverage, supply chains as vulnerabilities to be exploited. That's a leader. That's what actual statecraft sounds like. And you know what? Every other country at Davos heard that the speech and thought, yeah, maybe we should be talking to Canada instead of dealing with the guy who can't tell Iceland from Greenland. Because isolation doesn't make you strong. Isolation makes you broke. Trump thinks he's flexing American power, but what he's actually doing is handing China the greatest gift they could ask for. Every ally he alienates, every trade partner he threatens, every relationship he torches, that's another country that starts looking east instead of west. You think China's sitting there worried about Trump's tough talk? They're ecstatic. They're watching America drive away the European Union, push Canada toward new partnerships, and basically volunteering to be irrelevant. And when are those manufacturing jobs we're supposed to get back? Guess who's going to be there with open arms and better deals? Here's what kills me. Republican senators and congressmen should stop this. They could stand up like Carney did and say, this is dangerous, this is stupid, this is not how you lead a superpower, but they won't because they're cowards. Because they'd rather watch America become isolated and economically irrelevant than risk a mean tweet from a guy who confuses 2 different countries. Mark Carney stood in front of the same audience and defended democracy, defended alliances, defended the international order that kept us prosperous for 80 years, and he did it without threatening anyone, without lying about, basic history, without sounding like he's gotten lost on the way to the podium. Meanwhile, Trump's up there claiming he ended 8 wars, except half of them weren't wars, and several are still happening. He's claiming the U.S. gave Greenland back after World War II, except that never happened. Denmark has always had sovereignty. He's claiming NATO would be nothing without us while actively destroying the alliance that protected American interests since 1949. And for what? So he can stand in front of a bunch of Saudi billionaires and beg them to round up their investment to $1 trillion? Where's the money? So he can threaten Denmark until markets tank and then back off when he realizes he crashed the stock market? So he can play pretend strongman while the actual strong leaders in the room take notes on how to move forward without us? This is what decline looks like. Not a sudden collapse, just a steady drift toward irrelevance while the guy in charge declares victory. The rest of the world is moving on. They're building new partnerships. They're looking for stable trading partners who don't wake up and threaten them over breakfast. And we're going to be standing here wondering why we're broke, why manufacturing left, why nobody wants to do business with us anymore, and Trump will still be claiming it was a glorious triumph. King of the ashes, master of nothing. So here's what you can do. Call your Republican senator, ask them why they don't stand up like Mark Carney did. Ask them why they're fine with America becoming isolated and irrelevant. Ask them if they're willing to sacrifice American prosperity just to avoid making Trump mad, because isolation equals broke, and we're sprinting toward both.